Again, Sankarshan, thanks so much for coming on the program. We really
My
appreciate it.
pleasure to be here, Rob.
So what would you tell people to give them a little bit of hope, a little bit of advice of, all the craziness that's going on, and, so that they have a little bit of saneness in their mind with all this craziness?
Well, the thing is, this whole external madness that's going on in the world right now is due to our minds being mad. Our minds are mad. Our minds are not peaceful because our minds are going crazy with greed, with lust, with anger. Our minds are not pure. So what we're doing is we have an internal environment we're all created by our thought patterns, you see. You think in a certain way, everybody has thoughts going on. So our thoughts are very egocentric, they're very, they're not compassionate, they're not peaceful, they're not harmonious, because our thought patterns are actually the internal environment, the disrupted internal environment we're all maintaining in our psyches is manifested externally as coronavirus, dust clouds, all, poverty, all kinds of disease and riots. This is just an manifestation of our internal consciousness.
Like I told you, when we go back to a past interview I had with you, where I had a couple of, we'll say, elderly people that listened to the program with me and you, and they said a lot of the stuff you were saying was a lot of, we'll say, BS. And I kind of stuck up for you, and I say, a lot of the stuff that he's saying is true. Whether you believe it or you think it's a lot of silliness, I think a lot of what you're saying is true, factual, and it's factual information. What would you say to that? And why do you feel like people that are older are not as open-minded as people like me and even people younger than me?
It always works that way. Older people get set in their ways, It's
Right.
always that way. Young people are always more willing to learn. That's why education should be given, the proper education be given when one is young. Trouble is, we're not getting proper education. Our schools, our colleges, our universities are not giving proper education. They're simply giving materialistic education. They're not teaching the spiritual essence of existence. That's the problem.
So what are you telling the people that talk to you about the coronavirus, helping them stay sane, and how do we defeat this thing in general?
Well, the coronavirus is simply a karmic reaction for our impious activities. That's all. We're being slapped by nature. We're not acting in harmony with the higher principles of the universe. We're being slapped. So we have to learn how to live in harmony with the higher principles of the universe. How to be God-centric instead of egocentric. And that will automatically solve these problems. You can do a vaccine, that's all right. But the thing is, other viruses will come too. We have to learn how to become a God-centered society.
But were you always religious, like you talked about just now?
No. When I was a college student in 65, 66, 67, I lost interest in religion.
Okay, so when did you get that awakening? What was that point in time where you kind of felt that you felt those spirits like you just talked about in Denver? Did it just start in Denver, or was there another?
No, it started in Austin back in about 68. I was a depressed college student, really miserable. And one in the break room, one of my friends, one of the fellow students, told me about something called self-realization, where you could achieve a state of unlimited bliss within your heart. So then I sought out, what is this way that I can become a self-realized soul? And that led me back to spirituality, real spirituality, not pseudo-spirituality.
So being depressed, when you learned about the Hare Krishna movement, was that something that you read a book about, or is that through a friend? Or
a friend of mine in the break room of the drama school, and one day at the break room of the University of Texas drama department, one of my fellow students told me about, what was it called, self-realization. So I just said, I have to find out how to become self-realized so I can achieve unlimited bliss. So I began to search how to become self-realized, and that culminated when I found the Hare Krishna mantra back in 68, December of 68 approximately, maybe November. That to me was the actual key. The Hare Krishna mantra was the key of how to, calling out to Krishna I found that as the key for becoming self-realized.
Right. So let's go back into that. So we go into Denver, you started to have that awakening. And then while you were in this in the 70s while you were in San Francisco. You just spoke a little bit about being in San Francisco, you know, and you were in a band, and you are a good singer. I've heard it. I heard you sing. We lost some video.
Yeah, I was a popular singer in the West Coast. Yeah, I shared the stage with the Jefferson Airplane and the Grateful Dead. I was a popular singer on the campus in Berkeley. And then I became a popular singer on the campus in Austin, and the house musician at the leading vegetarian restaurant there in Austin.
So,
and after that, I became a devotee of Krishna.
You know, being with the Grateful Dead, I mean, they are a real popular band. How did you get involved with them?
Well, I just shared the stage with them at a big concert. There was a big concert in May of '69.
Right.
I think it's Lindsley Meadow. I did a set.
Did you go to Woodstock?
Huh?
Did you go to Woodstock?
No, I didn't go to Woodstock.
Oh, okay.
No.
Right.
I was very much appreciated by the thousands of people that day that when I sang Between the Airplane and the Dead in Golden Gate Park. They loved my sound.
So talk about your time in San Francisco. What made you want to go to San Francisco? Because you originated out of Texas, correct?
It was the Summer of Love was a very famous thing that happened in '67, the previous year. And, you know, there was even songs about it on the jukebox. You could hear the songs on the jukebox about San Francisco. It was, you know, popular songs. If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. It was popular songs in the media that we all heard, and we said, well, it must have been really beautiful out there. So I went out to see what was left of the beautiful Summer of Love. I headed out the following year in '68, see what was left of the Summer of Love.
Now, did you stay in San Francisco for a while, Sankarshan?
Yeah, a couple of months in San Francisco. I became the street singer up and down Haight Street to make the hate beautiful again. I was every day out there singing, and people loved my songs. And then I checked out Berkeley, and I said that was a much better scene for musicians. I moved over to Berkeley. They had minstrels up and down Sproul Plaza, attracting huge audiences. So then I became campus minstrel in Berkeley after time in Frisco.
Right. And when did you come back to Texas? And when you came back to Texas, is that when you started to say, I really want to get more involved in this?
Well, here's what happened was it got kind of old living as a, living without a job and trying to live like a hippie on the street. It got kind of old after a while.
Right.
And I thought, I can't handle this. I'm just going to go back to school, do the regular thing, get a job, get an apartment. I just can't handle being a street hippie anymore. And so I went back to Texas where I'd gone before, the University of Texas. I re-enrolled, and I hated it. I hated it.
Now, what were you studying over there?
I was working as a janitor at the hospital.
Oh, wow.
4 hours every night as a janitor in a hospital from 8 till midnight. Going to classes, I hated it. So one day I just took my guitar to the campus and saw a good spot where I could sing on the statue of George Washington.
Yeah.
So I started going between classes, and I sang, and he attracted huge audiences. I became the campus sensation at the University of Texas. And then I ended up dropping out again and getting back into music full time. I even
you were a big hit over there.
I gave up my apartment, just lived like a hippie again.
Right, but you were a big hit over there at University of Texas.
Yeah,
and now you still go over there, right?
I was a big sensation on the campus. Yeah, I was the only campus minstrel. In Berkeley, they had tons of them. I was the only one, and so I was a big campus celebrity in those days, the University of Texas.
Now you still go over there, correct? And sing and stuff, or no?
No, it's not. There's a whole different mood now. That we tried it once, and people aren't interested in that. Now everybody's on the internet.
Oh wow!
There was no internet in those days. Now everybody's on the internet. They're not interested in stuff like that. Smartphones.
But I'm surprised though, because Austin is a very progressive, laid-back city. I would think that they would.
The whole culture is smartphones and internet now. That's where people are going for music.
That's really sad. So now you do travel a lot, and for the viewers that didn't see the previous two interviews. And this is Sankarshan here on Fire, Breathe, and Rob. Please like and subscribe to our videos and definitely check them out. With that said, Sankarshan, can you tell the viewers a little bit about your travels and all the, you've also written quite a few
We're not
books.
traveling now. We're in quarantine.
Right, yeah.
here. My
Right.
disciple said,
But
don't
you were
even
supposed to travel, though, and then it got canceled, remember?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I actually me and my wife circle the globe twice a year giving lectures in Australia, Malaysia, South America, India, Europe. That's our normal program. But right now, everything's on hold.
Right.
Who knows for how long?
But can you tell the viewers that, like I said, the viewers that don't know you, where you've traveled to, and I know you brought up some of the places, but when you do travel to those places, for the people that don't know you, what do you do there? What do you talk about as far as the lectures?
We teach the science of Krishna consciousness, how you can achieve the perfection of consciousness. You see, everyone actually is an enlightened spiritual being within their heart. Everybody has the perfection of consciousness already there. You have the gold mine already within you. You just got to get back to that self that's within you. We teach people how to get back to their original divine enlightened consciousness they once had before they misidentified with the material energy. That original consciousness is eternal. It's full of bliss and it's full of knowledge, and we train you how to get back to your original self. We're not imposing something on you.
Yeah.
We're teaching you how to get free from all the things the material society has imposed upon you to make you miserable and ignorant.
Yeah.
That's the point.
So as we end the interview, I want to bring this up, and this is Sankarshan here on Fire Breathing Rob. But for the young people that you talk to all around the country, and I feel like you can correct me if I'm wrong, you do talk to, it's mostly young people that follow, you would say, the movement, because obviously they're more open than older people, and we talked about that earlier in the interview.
Yeah, most of my disciples are younger, that's right.
Now, would you say, how is the, how could I word this? How is the response, in different countries? Like for instance, we're in the U.S. right now. How is the response for people in the U.S. compared to other countries?
The U.S. is pretty backwards spiritually.
I agree.
They're backwards. They're not very inclined. That's the big challenge, how to get the U.S. That's why I see this coronavirus and these riots as a great blessing.
Right.
Because this will get people more serious to look for a positive alternative to material existence.
So you don't have many followers in the U.S., you would say?
No, the U.S. is not a very good place for followers, because people who are so deluded, this is the greatest country in the world, we're the greatest people in the world. Americans are very deluded with egotism. Very deluded with egotism.
What country would you say is the most open that as far as people you speak with?
Actually, India is people are more receptive in India to higher consciousness than anywhere in the world. India.
Do you feel like for instance, I like fish. Would you say that, because I'm still trying to learn about your movement in general. Would you say that eating fish is not correct, or would you say
not as bad as eating the cow?
Okay.
But we also give that up, because if you eat, the thing is, there's a karma. When you kill a living creature and eat it, then your karma is you have to take birth in that species. So if you want to be a fish in your next life, go ahead, eat fish. You take birth as a fish in your next birth. For every fish you eat, you have to take birth as a fish.
So let me ask you this. Would you say that for stuff that you eat, what would you tell people that are listening right now that are like me, that are open-minded, that want to eat the correct things? Obviously, we spoke about hamburgers.
Here's the proper diet. Here's the proper diet.
Go ahead.
Fruits, vegetables, dairy products, and grains. First offer to the Supreme Being as a loving sacrifice. And after you offer to God, then you eat it. And that eating will purify your consciousness and elevate you and liberate you from material existence. It's called eating sanctified food.
So can you give the viewers and myself like a sample of what you would eat for breakfast, what you would eat for lunch, and dinner?
For example, this morning I made blueberry muffins.
Okay.
And we had pineapple and strawberries, and we had banana, and it was very nice breakfast.
So let me ask you this: what would you say to, we have these doctors that say you got to have this protein, you got to eat this kind of meat.
Yeah, meat is not necessary for a balanced diet. You can get all the proteins you need from eating beans.
Right.
There's no protein. Protein is not. You don't need to eat meat to get protein.
Right. Well, that's just what, obviously, I agree with you. That's just what I've been told. You
It's
can eat.
nonsense. A nonsense argument.
Right.
I've been a vegetarian diet for half a century,
Right.
and I'm doing pretty good for a 71-year-old man.
Yeah, I tell everybody, people ask me how old you are, and I tell them your age, and they can't believe it. They say that's not true. They said this guy, they're saying you look like you're in your 50s.
You do the math. I was born in 47. Actually, I'm more than 70 now. Born in 1947.
Right. Well, they're saying this guy looks like he's in his late 40s, his 50s, and then you come out and tell me that you're 71. So that's what I'm saying.
No, I lost track. Maybe it's 71. Yeah. I think maybe I'm 72. Let's see. I was one.
Hey, I'm not a mathematician, so.
So in 2018, I was 71. So I'll be turning 73, I guess, this year. Looks like.
Wow. So that's what I'm saying. People telling me this guy looks like he's in his 50s, and you're telling me you're 73. It's just incredible. But I think that it goes into what you're speaking about with the diet and what you eat, because we are what we eat. We are what we put in our bodies. If we're putting all these chemicals in our bodies,
you eat death. Which when you kill animals and fish, you're eating death, and that means you're calling your own death very near.
Well, also, you look at all these foods, too, and I agree with what you said, Sankarshan, but we also look at all these processed foods and all the high fructose corn syrup, all the other junk that's put in these foods, these chemicals that really, really corrupt our body.
Yeah, we take raw ingredients and make our own. We don't buy all the box stuff, I made blueberry muffins from scratch, not.
Wow.
You do it from scratch, and you get the flour and some milk, some butter. You do it the pure way.
So what would you? I know you said about the doctors. If you go to the doctor, I don't know if you do, maybe you don't. If you go to the doctor and you tell them like what you're eating, do they say anything? Say, oh, like what I said. Do they say, oh, well, you should be eating this much protein?
No, wait, I've never had it. My doctor doesn't tell me. The doctor's not against my diet at all.
Right, so they're pretty for it.
Appreciates my diet. My doctor appreciates my diet.
You know what gets me?
One of my disciples is a medical doctor.
Oh wow! You know what gets me, Sankarshan, is when you go in there and you got the doctor and they're telling you eat this, diet such as what you're saying, and then you're thinking, what the heck are they really eating? Are they really following what they're telling people? That's what I'm saying. But,
yeah, we don't need. Krishna is the supreme doctor, the source of all existence. By following his diet, one becomes healthy and happy.
Right. Definitely check out our other interviews that we did with Sankarshan if you haven't already and you're watching this. Lastly, Sankarshan, can you tell all these people that are listening where they can find more about you, where they can learn more about you, and also
you just go to joincourse.com.
Right.
And that'll get you connected with my online training program.
Now
www.joincourse, JOINCOURSE.com.